Hi, I'm Kesenya and welcome to Guiding Star Astrology. I'm your Astro Weather Girl, here with this week's Astro Weather Report. I'm going to show you how the stars are going to affect your life this week. Welcome everybody to 2025, and aren't we happy to see it come on in. Welcome to the new year. Right from the get-go, the calendar year, I need to point out, is usually not the best time to make wishes. However, this year we have a new moon on New Year's Eve, so this is a fabulous energy to be making wishes under. It's very supportive, so go at it, my friends. Make your wishes on New Year's Eve this year. I want to thank all of you here at the YouTube channel for your love and support throughout 2024. Let me be a little bit vulnerable here for a moment or two. I have had a tough year where I've experienced severe anxiety for the first time in my life all throughout this year. Look, there's so much that's wonderful in my life, so much to be grateful for, so much that I'm thankful for. And the causes of that internal stress are very hard to explain from a circumstantial point of view, as many of you who also experience anxiety know all too well. From an astrological point of view, though, the energy of Saturn crossing my rising sign, I believe, is the cause behind all of this. You know, my fellow Pisces rising people might also be able to relate here at the YouTube channel. Saturn in the first house, when he transits the first house, can cause us to take on extra responsibilities, extra duties, and a lot more hard work that burns us out. In a physical sense, it can be very heavy on our vitality, and of course, can be a cause of anxiety when Saturn transits the first house. He also makes us mature, and he makes us grow up. It's also well known that Saturn crossing the first house can bring the biggest life changes and new beginnings into our life. And this can be scary, this can be challenging, and it can also be very rewarding and fulfilling. So I don't want to scare anybody, particularly Aries rising people who are in for Saturn's first house transit next. I just want to highlight these are some of the influences of Saturn transiting the first house. Now, Saturn transiting the first house also causes us to put boundaries in place. Saturn is all about boundaries. Pisces is not. So it's something for Pisces rising people who have had Saturn transiting the first house. We've experienced this, and it's been different. It's been challenging. We have had to learn as Pisces people over this transit of Saturn to put boundaries in place to protect ourselves. And it's not something that naturally comes easy to a Pisces person. And certainly the level of anxiety I've experienced this year has caused me to put a lot of boundaries in place to protect my energy. I've completely cut back on social media involvement in Instagram and Facebook, and I've actually loved it. That's been a huge blessing. And I'm also, from the start of this video, January 2025, I'm turning off the comment section here on my YouTube videos for my own mental health and well-being. I'm a people pleaser, Libra moon, Pisces rising. It is very debilitating to me to receive the criticism that I get constantly on the YouTube comments and the negativity, and also trying to practice boundary making for all the trolls and things that keep showing up on various channels like mine. So it's just going to be easier for me to turn off the comments and protect my energy, try and guard against this level of anxiety that's come in, and put in these Saturnian boundaries to guard myself. Now, my friends, timestamps are still going to be available as always. They can be found in the video description section. So all you've got to do is go to the video description section and utilize the timestamps along with the links there to my various services and offerings. Okay? Now, because 2024 has been such a challenge for so many of us, and I'll talk about why this is in a moment, I also want to start 2025 with a free gift of love to everybody. Yes, it's been a hard year, so let me support you through an offering for free. For the month of January, I'm giving free Bronze Star access to my Patreon family. So if you want to join, come in as a free joiner, a free member of the Royal Stars, not the Royal Stars Academy, the Patreon family, and get Bronze Star access for free, just for 1 month here at the Patreon family. So join for free, find out what the moon is doing in your life this January. My whole Patreon page is very much dedicated to lunar moon energy, because the moon is one of the most powerful and potent components of all astrology. So if you want to be able to interact with the moon and utilize moon energy, the Patreon family is where you go. You won't often hear me talking about what the moon's doing here on YouTube. I focus on other things here. But if you want moon-based energy, it's the Patreon family that you need to join. And again, join for free for 1 month and find out what it's all about. So Bronze Star patrons, they get a new moon report, video report for all signs every month, a full moon video report for all signs every month, and an educational video on an astrological topic or technique every month, every single month. Now, if you want to go a little bit deeper, my Gold and Silver Star patrons also get those 3 videos that I just mentioned, but they get a moon glow manifestation video all about bringing reality to your wishes and dreams by using the moon's energy. Very powerful, very, very powerful video that they get every month from 2025 onwards. They get a moon-based calendar for each month as well. So they get, access to moon-based information on a monthly basis that they can stick up on the wall and utilize. They get an astro wheel at the end of a year's membership. This is an astro wheel. They get the smaller mini version that I sell. Plus, they get an annual ongoing gift from Guiding Star Astrology every subsequent year that they're a member of the Patreon family. So that's what you get. Once again, come and join for free in January. Let me give you support to kick the new year off and receive the Bronze Star blessings, stumbling over my words here, from me. Thank you one and all for being part of my YouTube community this year, my dear friends. So now, my friends, let's dive into what's new in 2025. This is going to be one of the most important years of the decade, I'm excited to say. We all love a bit of change and we love new momentum, and certainly as we're going to be moving heavily into air and fire signs, that's what we're going to get. A lot of new energy and momentum. A lot of willpower and the ability to assert ourselves. But we're not out of the water genre, the water modality yet. Throughout 2024, my friends, we have had Neptune at a very powerful, potent, and important area of the chart. Here is Neptune down here, and Neptune has been in the latter degrees of Pisces, the Gandanta degrees of Pisces. We're also soon to have Saturn joining Neptune at the Gandanta degrees of Pisces as well. And they're going to both cross over this year into the Gandanta degrees of Aries. So this is going to carry on and off this year, 2025. So aside from the ingress of, Pluto into Aquarius that occurred in 2024, the Gandanta degrees of Pisces Aries have been one of the causes of the massive tensions that we've all experienced. And it should be pointed out as well that currently Mars is retrograding across Gandanta degrees up here in Leo and Cancer as well. What does this all mean, and what is Gandanta degrees? To those of you who don't follow Vedic astrology, you may not know what this is. Well, I'll talk about the Gandanta degrees in just a minute, but we have been in a state of transitional tension throughout 2024, and many of us have felt it. Some of us have had anxiety as a result. But this is where new energy is being birthed upon the planet. Gandanta points are transition points between the water and the fire signs in Vedic astrology. These points are associated with a lack of boundaries, and it doesn't matter whether it's Pisces energy, which is traditionally associated with lack of boundaries, or it's another water sign, Scorpio or Cancer, or the early degrees of the fire signs, which are Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius. All these Gandanta points are associated with a lack of boundaries, specifically the boundary from the earthly realm to the spiritual realm. So it's considered to be a collective time when you get a heavy-duty, slow-moving planet like Neptune that's been there this year and will be next year as well, in 2025, along with Saturn. Whenever you have a transiting planet of that nature at the Gandanta degrees, it's a time that's actually extremely favorable for tremendous spiritual growth and progress, because we're cutting through the veils of Maya being the supernatural power wielded by the gods and the demons. It's about having a profound transformation in our soul that impacts our lives collectively and personally, and it will also be impacting the lives of many people around you, both directly and indirectly, when we're having this transit. So the changes, the phenomenal changes you're seeing in people's lives around you, in your own life, in the collective society, it is a part of spiritual growth and progress. The thing is, and if you know Vedic astrology and the moksha houses, which are the spiritual houses, they are the difficult houses. Moksha, spiritual growth and liberation, often comes with challenge, often comes with needing to go through the fire, the baptism by fire, so to speak, in order to be born into a new spiritual state, a new spiritual era. So this is what Gandanta is: baptism by water and then a baptism by fire, Pisces and Aries energy. It's considered that these Gandanta degrees are an exclusive door into another dimension, and they're powerful for growing our spiritual discernment. And certainly, what have we seen over the last few years? We've seen people waking up big time in a spiritual sense and in an awareness of what's going on in collective society. We're also seeing the collapse of empires, some might say empires, happening as well. And this is part of this growth because there's a spiritual up-leveling, and the old systems, the old structures, the old forms cannot remain in a higher vibrational world. We need to up-level the vibration of our systems and structures in order to be at one with the vibration of humanity. So this movement across Gandanta is ushering in a new spiritual state, a new spiritual level, personally and collectively. So it's an illuminating time of boundary crossing and increased wisdom for humanity. This is very true, especially when we get an outer planet like Neptune moving across a Gandanta point. This is our collective chance, my friends, to untie the knots of karma. And it's going to lead humanity into a major breakthrough in consciousness. We're already seeing it. We're already feeling it. Untangling karma is hard, but always liberating. And the process is often linked, as I've already alluded to, with considerable trauma and struggle and upheaval. And for some people, when they go through these Gandanta transits, especially when they've got Gandanta planets in their own birth chart that are triggered by transits, they can go through a dark night of the soul. So this is collectively feeling like a dark night of the soul for humanity. We're in the dark tunnel, but it's a birth canal tunnel. There is light at the end. There is a birth into a new way of being. Now, many people have felt this, and many people will continue to feel this as Saturn and Neptune cross these degrees over the next year to 2 years. But excuse me, it is exciting too. Now, how we view this and how we experience this really depends on the level of our own vibration. So I want to encourage you, my friends, to keep your vibration high. How do we do that? We live in love for one another, non-judgment. We live in compassion. We follow our heart. We create joy wherever we can for ourselves and the people we love and care about. It's also a wonderful time to release the habits, the behaviors, the self-sabotaging that are keeping you from up-leveling to your highest vibrational self. So yes, it's scary, but it's a very exciting and liberating time, especially for those of us who seek to walk in the higher vibrational state of trust and flow with the universe. Now, there's a difference between the Pisces Gandanta degrees and the Aries Gandanta degrees. Pisces Gandanta degrees are all about ending one cycle of growth and beginning another. Wrapping things up, tying up loose ends. So no surprises that we're seeing the end of an empire happening right now. This will continue, and the next 5 years or so might even be very prominent with this energy. But certainly a lot of the cracks are really starting to split apart now as we have Neptune and Saturn moving into the Gandanta of Pisces. Aries Gandanta degrees are all about something different. The soul, personally, is connected to a past life, but the soul is also awake and aware that it's on the threshold of another incarnation. So when we are born into Gandanta degrees, if our chart has the Aries Gandanta degrees triggered by a planet being there, we are here in this lifetime to be born into a new way of being, a new way of expressing the self and experiencing life on the planet. So that's what this Aries degree is all about. And as we have Neptune and Saturn moving there, you're going to see humanity waking up to, hang on, that's the way things used to be, and that really sucked, and I don't want that anymore, and that's not where it's at. Now I want this in the future. It's very future-oriented, Aries energy. So yes, it can create confusion and energetic influences that can be hard to understand. But if we look at where we've come from, and some of us feel like where we've come from collectively felt safe, felt secure. We knew the way the world worked. We knew the status quo. And this new thing that's coming in, oh my God, what's it going to be all about? That's how some people view it, and it causes the anxiety and the panic. There is another way to look at this and look and see the darkness that was present. You know, those of us, especially people who've got a lot of 8th house planets and influences, are not afraid to look at the darkness. They can see what the darkness was, and we get excited because the darkness is ending, and the light, the new light of a new experience and a clean sheet of paper for humanity, so to speak, to write a new story on, is evolving and emerging. So it all depends on the point of view. So you can see, my friends, it's very important. It's a very important time to hold one another in love right now. Find a community of like-minded people, even if it's an online community. Support each other through this transition. Share, create, build, establish a new way of living. If you can do that, then you're taking an active part in ushering the new vibration, the new life that is being born on the planet at this time. It's not necessarily about tapping out. It's about being held in love with those that are on the same page. And maybe, just maybe, this YouTube channel here is that. I hope so. Now, my friends, this explains why things have been difficult, and a lot of people have felt the heavy struggle of 2024. And look, it could still be difficult and challenging in 2025. And I'm going to talk about some influences that I think are going to be very powerful and beneficial that are happening in 2025 that we really haven't had in 2024, that are going to make 2025 more potent and powerful and blessed. So thumbs up there. But equally, throughout 2024, I have spoken about an influence that held space for us. So yes, things might have felt heavy and stuck and scary and all that sort of thing. But we had a major grand trine between Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto, the divine planets, that was, as they say, holding space for us. So we have down, and this is going to continue throughout 2025, we have Pluto down here in Aquarius making a sextile aspect to Neptune, who is making a sextile aspect to Uranus, and this then creates a minor grand trine. Now, as I said, I've spoken about this a number of times throughout the last year. It represents angels, because it's the celestial planets making this divine grand trine. It's the minor grand trine. It's the angels and higher energies that are helping humanity through this transition, and we have so much to be thankful for and to give gracious thanks to the universe for. So those who've been following my channel throughout 2024, you will have heard me talk about this minor grand trine. I'm not going to repeat it here today. I don't have time in this video, but I just wanted to point out that this is one of the blessings that is going to be unfolding this year and holding space for us all. What else is going to be happening in the skies in 2025? Well, it's going to be a very exciting year and a huge year, as I've already alluded to, on a personal and world scale. Now, what's happening? Well, we've had the transit of Pluto already into Aquarius, and while Pluto's in the early degrees of Aquarius, he's going to help us put new projects, visions, and aspirations into a more concretely established framework. So if you started something new in 2024, it's really going to settle into its groove now with Pluto here. I'll talk a little in a moment about this trine between Uranus and Pluto that's going to really support and help these new beginnings that you've already established when Pluto moved into Aquarius. But the fixed signs are going to be particularly set on a path of big life transformation now, because Aquarius is a fixed sign. Pluto energy is there, and opposite is Leo, fixed sign, and squaring it is Taurus and Scorpio, fixed signs. So it's the fixed signs who are now going to go through significant life transformation, especially if you've got strong planets in any of those four signs. Now, the Aquarian influence with Pluto empowering that area of the chart is going to see advances, and we've talked about this many times last year, in air and space travel, in technology, in innovation, and the changes that are going to occur are going to come in fast and rapidly. And this is going to come in on a cultural level and a social level and a personal level. We're going to see a lot of changes that happen in the blink of an eye. And you know something? Some of us might have a bit of a rough time keeping up with it all. So be kind to yourself if you feel like your head's spinning throughout 2025 at all the massive changes and world events that are unfolding with Pluto moving in the early degrees of Aquarius. Now, Neptune this year is moving into Aries. It'll also go back into Pisces as well this year, but for the most part it's going to be in Aries. And this is a sign that has not experienced a Neptunian influence in this way since the late 1800s. Now, that time was a period of tremendous exploration, entrepreneurial growth, and global expansion. A real time of pioneering and exploring new opportunities. So we can expect similar things to happen again. I'll be talking more succinctly about this at the time when Neptune changes signs. But personally, we can expect that as Neptune moves into Aries, things can change in terms of entrepreneurism and exploring and expanding beyond our limitations now. And of course, Neptune's been in Pisces for the last 14 years, so many of us are going to welcome the new shift of energy. Uranus is going to enter into the sign of Aries. Not the sign of Aries, the sign of Gemini. So as you can see, all these big outer planets are in a beautiful minor grand trine, and they're all shifting from one modality, one sign to another. So we're going to have a big emphasis this year on the air signs, Aquarius and Gemini, and the fire signs, the masculine energy, the assertive, go-get-em, willpower energy. And Uranus in Gemini this year is also going to contribute to that. This is happening in July when Uranus goes in there. And this will give emphasis, similarly to Pluto in Aquarius, emphasis to technology, but also to education, to learning, to localized communities, and to our ability to communicate through technology. I'm excited by Uranus moving into Gemini. There's a bit of disagreement amongst astrologers about whether or not Uranus is in fall in Taurus, but it is thought by some astrologers that Uranus is in fall in Taurus. And certainly from what we've seen, things have been, rather a headache since Uranus has moved into Taurus. So I won't be sorry to see Uranus leave that sign. And I'm excited by this transit because it's going to revolutionize, that's the planet of revolution is Uranus, revolutionize all these areas of collective society, the education sector, the communications sector, the technology sector. All of these things are going to be, as Uranus does, liberated, made more authentic, and revolutionized. And because we're having this gorgeous trine with Pluto at the same time, the changes, at least in 2025, are going to be positive and powerful, very beneficial in these areas. So bring it on. I'm excited. And if anyone wants to learn more astrology, come and study with me at the Royal Stars Academy when Uranus moves into Gemini this year. Now, Jupiter is going to shimmy on into the sign of Cancer, its exaltation sign this year. And I, for one, cannot wait. Is there anything better, my friends, than an exalted great benefic? I love it. So check out where Cancer is in your chart. This is the area of your life where you're going to experience greater blessing and growth and expansion and abundance occurring. And if you have planets in Cancer, my friends, they are going to get triggered by this mighty gas giant as well. And then the things that those planets rule are also going to get a boost, a bit of a rocket launch in blessing this year as well. So check out your chart and find out what that's going to mean for you by the planets that are in Cancer and wherever Cancer sits in whole sign astrology. Without a doubt, Jupiter in Cancer is going to be the best planetary placement for 2025. Now, I haven't forgotten Saturn. Saturn down here is also, so you can see everything's changing signs. Phenomenal year. Saturn's going to dip a toe into Aries and then move back into Pisces again, a bit like Neptune. But as he moves back into Pisces in the latter part of this year, he's going to form a sign-based trine to Jupiter in Cancer, not by degree, but by sign. And actually in the Vedic system, Saturn does not cast trine aspects, but Jupiter does. So Jupiter will be trining Saturn from Cancer to, Jupiter will be trining Saturn from Cancer, and of course Saturn's in Pisces. So this is going to further enhance the supportive and beneficial energy of Cancer Jupiter, because Saturn solidifies and makes concrete and gives foundation to all the blessings of Jupiter being in Cancer. Cancer Saturn trines are really, really lovely. Even a sign-based trine, when the degree isn't exact, it's still a blessing. So I'm loving this energy. If you have anything in water signs and water energy, then lap up this goodness while you can. I would encourage you to stockpile and save any of the empowering experiences, the financial expansion and growth, the blessing, the abundance that this combination brings you this year, in readiness for when Saturn moves permanently into Aries in 2026, because when Saturn's in Aries, he's in his fall. He's in the opposite sign to his exaltation sign, Libra. And so this brings challenges that we're going to need some stoicism and maturity to face in 2026. So use this blessing energy in preparation for that time coming, forewarned, forearmed. So I'd encourage you, maybe start a rainy day bank account and put whatever you can aside in that rainy day bank account in readiness for Saturn in Aries and what that might bring. Preserve fruit and veg in your pantry. Start to save things when we're in this period of abundance. I mean, this is an age-old mythological reference here. What was the dream of Pharaoh all about in the story of Joseph? It was about seeing lean times coming, or seeing profitable times coming, and then 7 years of lean times. So what was the advice Joseph gave Pharaoh? Stock up and save now in readiness for when the lean times come, and you'll get through and you'll survive. And I'm giving you that same message now. Stock up and save while we've got a beautiful trine by sign forming in positive energy for Saturn and Jupiter, so that when the shift comes and Saturn is in his fall, you have a backstop, my friends. Now, not only that, but the nodes will change signs, and this is actually happening next week. I'll talk about that in next week's video, so don't miss it. Like, share, subscribe to the channel so that you're ready to receive that video next week. I just can't wait for the nodes down here to move from Aries North Node, Libra South Node, into the Pisces Virgo axis. This has been hard. North Node in Aries, we've seen so much warmongering and aggression happening. We've had a loss, if you like, South Node, of the civility, the refinement, the culture that Libra stands for, the fairness, the balance, the harmony. And we also know that when these nodes are on the Libra-Aries axis, we get more out of bounds by declination movement of the moon, and that brings volatility as well. So we're going to start to get back into normal bounds of the moon, thank goodness, as the shift occurs. And look, I've just completed a massive chapter of my new level of the Royal Stars Academy that will be being released this year, all about the nodes. And my God, they're a fascinating topic. I love it. It's one of my favorite topics in astrology. And I can tell you, this shift of the nodes is going to be extremely important and powerful, especially as, in this case, the North Node is crossing Gandanta degrees as well. Very karmic, about releasing and letting go to move into a new destiny. That's the story of the energies this year. It's going to be not only crossing the Gandanta degrees, the North Node, but it's going to be conjuncting Neptune, and then it's going to be conjuncting Saturn. The karma, my friends, with this shifting nodal axis is huge this year. And the opportunities are immense, but only if we work with alignment to the energy and use the energy to our advantage. And as I said, I'll be talking more about that in next week's video. Now, we might find that a more spiritual and karma-based approach to life becomes prominent in 2025 because of all these changes. Self-development is going to be a key to getting through this year. And look, in all positivity, with the North Node in Pisces, 2025 might be filled with a very dreamy, romantic feel to it. There is even the potential, especially while Saturn remains in Pisces, to bring many of our dreams into manifested reality. I'm excited by that, aren't you? Our collective unconscious, representing our dreams and hopes and psychological health and our level of happiness, can really expand with the North Node in Pisces in this typical boundaryless Piscean way. So many people are going to realize their fondest dreams under this transit, but it'll also be important to strengthen your mental health as well. We're more vulnerable to mental health issues when the North Node moves through a water sign. So it's a good time to invest in self-help books, counselors, workshops, hypnosis, regression sessions, and therapy practices. They're all encouraged as the North Node moves into Pisces. And because the nodes are going to be in Pisces Virgo, eclipses are happening on the Pisces Virgo axis as well. This is the axis of karma. And of course, the North Node and the South Node are very karmic. So it's in this realm that is going to be a source of significant personal transformation in your life this year. We'll talk about that next week as well. So I feel, though, generally speaking, that you might be called to be of greater service to others, North Node in Pisces, or to let go of workaholism, South Node in Virgo. They're just a couple of examples of how the energy might express. The universe is also no doubt asking many people to let go of their victim mentality over the next 18 months as well, and start to live with more compassion for others in their life, taking the focus from self to service of others. And I'll talk more about this on a personal level as the year unfolds also. Just to wrap up, the first 4 months of 2025, as well as September and October, might feel somewhat tiring. Your energy levels might be low. You might feel like you're lacking in vitality. So don't push yourself to the limit. Don't overdo it. Don't go in too hard. Guard your health and guard your mental health during these months as well. Self-care is a big and important focus for the year ahead, my friends. So make your plans this new year with the new moon falling on New Year, calendar New Year. Make your plans and your wishes, and they will be potent. And make sure you prioritize your well-being this year in your aspirations and wishes as well. You won't look back. What a year, my friends, we are in for. And now let's see, generally speaking, doing a little whip around, how this might be impacting each and every sign. Let's start with Aries, because there's so much action in Pisces and Aries this year. It is phenomenal. So for Aries rising, you can also consider your sun and moon as well if you have them in Aries. What this is bringing is Pluto is going to be in your 11th house. So there is likely to be some very fast transformational change that's occurring to do with friendships, group associations, group involvements. Your influence upon groups might change. You know, maybe you've always led wonderful retreats and had lots of people following you to do retreats. And this year, there's a shift, there's a change. Maybe you don't get as many people signing up for a retreat as you used to, but the focus is meant to go elsewhere, for example. Usually Pluto empowers what it touches, so it's actually probably more likely to work in the reverse, where you actually attract more people to your group work, your group sessions. You might be more empowered by being a part of group work and group sessions, or part of a great big group movement of some description as well. Your dreams and goals and aspirations can be more empowered too, Aries, because of Pluto being in your 11th house. It's going to be there for 20 years. I've spoken extensively about this in a number of videos, so do check out my playlist if you want to know more about what Pluto in Aquarius for Aries rising people is going to be all about. But fast change likely to happen in that realm of the chart this year. Neptune is going to be spending a good deal of this year in your first house. So this is going to really emphasize for Aries people more pioneering, more exploring, more entrepreneurial growth, usually to do with spiritual things, which is the nature of Neptune. So you might be exploring new spiritual ideas and concepts that you've never known before, that you've never encountered before. How wonderful. You might be looking at doing some entrepreneurial work to do with spiritual or creative mechanisms. You might do something entrepreneurial with film, or with photography, with oils or plastics, with something that's fake, Neptune energy. You might get a focus on that sort of thing. Also, Uranus down here, moving into Gemini, is going to liberate your third house. And of course, the third house has to do with your ability to learn. I think that you are going to, any blockages around learning, about developing new skill sets, around buying and selling and trading, they're going to disappear. You're going to certainly be able to be very effective, I think, once Uranus moves into the third house, at marketing. You're going to have innovative new approaches to marketing and selling. You're going to be able to learn, particularly astrology. You might be very drawn to studying astrology and learning about astrology, sharing, creating social media platforms around astrology, and certainly becoming more authentic in your friendships once Uranus moves into the third house. Just a heads up though, Aries, Uranus in the third house can prove difficult for the monkey mind. So you might find that your mind goes into overdrive a little. Have some strategies up your sleeve for breath work and balancing an overactive mental capacity while Uranus is here. Okay, Saturn is going to be in Gandanta degrees, and this is happening at the 12th house and the first house of your chart. So very much the emphasis, again, releasing karma. Old self-sabotaging behavioral patterns are going to, hit the road now, but it might come with a bit of challenge and upheaval and a need to put some new boundaries in place in your life so that you can manage. Jupiter's moving into Cancer this year, and it's going to bring blessing and growth and expansion to your 4th house. So you might be looking at, getting a new home, renovating your home, extending your home in some way, maybe establishing a new garden or growing your own fruits and vegetables as a source of self-sufficiency for you. There is also the potential, Aries, for creating more of a solid foundation in your life as Jupiter is here. So it's time to, go speak to those builders who are going to do a reno for you, or check out house options, maybe a real estate agent, have a chat to a real estate agent as Jupiter moves into Cancer and gives potential for change and blessing and expansion in that realm of life. The nodes and eclipses, well, my dear friends, they are falling, leaving your relationship axis, and I can hear you all say thank God for that, and moving into the axis that has to do with karma. So for a lot of Aries people, a lot of the focus this year is on leaving behind old behavior patterns and moving into more, well, in this case, I think more blessing, more the ability to sort of not be such a workaholic, the ability to relax a little more, take more holidays, the nodal axis changing, I'll talk more about next week. But generally speaking, it's going to give Aries people more of an opportunity to tap out and tap into their spiritual side. That's what I'm seeing for Aries. Taurus rising, sun and moon people. Well, Pluto, we've already talked about this in a few videos, so check out my recent playlist if you want to know more about this. But Pluto's in the early degrees this year of Aquarius, and this is where you might be seeing a lot of empowerment and fast change career-wise, to do with your relationship with bosses and authority figures and father figures. You might be experiencing a serious level of empowerment in terms of your social reputation, and your reputation can change rapidly overnight when Pluto is transiting through this realm of the chart. This is particularly potent for any Taurus people who have their MC in the 0, 1, 2 or 3 degrees of the sign of Aquarius. Neptune this year, my friends, is going to be moving into your 12th house. Of course, I'll talk all the more about these energies as they unfold throughout the year. But Neptune is bringing an energy of no boundaries into your 12th house. And so really it's going to be a time where you're going to expand your spiritual understanding, Taurus. And a lot of Taurus people are not interested in spirituality. I mean, look, if you're following this channel, you probably are. But you'll find, generally speaking, out there in the world, most people with a heavy Taurus influence, they're much too interested in the earth realm to give much time to the spiritual. But that's all going to shift for a lot of Taurus people once we have Neptune moving into the 12th house. There's going to be more of a focus on being charitable, more of a focus on giving, more of a focus on understanding spiritual matters. And of course, Neptune will remove boundaries to all those things when he moves into the 12th house. Uranus down here is going to leave your first house where he's been for the last 14 years, really shaking you out of a rut, Taurus. And of course, that is what may lead to your understanding of spiritual things now, having gone through 7 years of Uranus in the first house and transforming who you are on a big scale. Now he's moving into your second house. So I'll talk more about this when this happens this year. But the energy is going to shift to a focus on liberating your finances, making you more authentic with what you buy, how you save, what you spend your money on, making you more authentic with how you generate resources in your life. There's going to be positive changes in the realm of finances. I know all you Taurus people will be happy to hear that because of the trine coming from Pluto as well. I also see that Saturn is going to be moving across Gandanta degrees, releasing karma for you in, again, the 12th house. So again, this is a focus on doing the hard work to release any self-sabotaging, any personal blockages, any mindsets that are hanging around from past life experiences or even early life experiences that have been imprinted upon your subconscious. It's about letting those go and really giving yourself a new foundation for your mental health and for your subconscious approach to how you're living. Jupiter is moving into Cancer this year, and this is your third house. And this is going to mean great blessing and expansion and growth in third house things. It's likely many of you Taurus people will want to undertake some sort of new course to expand your skill sets, to expand your understanding, to expand your mind. You will be blessed by your friends this year and your social connections this year, big time. And it's likely if you run your own small business, Taurus, that you are going to see some growth and abundance in that realm too. The nodes are going to be affecting this axis, the 11th house, 5th house axis. So this is going to be an important year, and I'll talk more about this next week. This is going to be an important year of moving into serving the world and leaving behind self-obsession. So big focus on a shift in that way. I have so much more to say about that. Catch next week's video when I dedicate it all to a conversation about the changing nodes. Thank you, Taurus. Gemini rising, Gemini sun, and Gemini moon people. Well, going for a walk. Very Gemini of you. Gemini likes a little bit of movement. And we are seeing from the get-go, we've got Pluto moving through your 9th house. And this is where you might see some serious transformation and some fast change. Now, this might pertain to long distance travels or your interactions with other cultures in faraway places. Maybe you have lined up to do import-export with a country on the other side of the world, and lo and behold, something happens because of Pluto moving into this realm where that all changes. The dynamic of import-export with that country shifts, and you have to focus on dealing with another country instead. We've certainly seen plenty of volatility in the world regarding international relations that could be affecting that sort of thing for you on a personal level. There might be a lot of transformation that can come your way this year through higher level study, through getting a degree, or doing some sort of a higher minded mental practices, undertaking some sort of research into philosophy or astrology or the law or medicine. I would encourage you to look into those sorts of things, because Pluto can do wonderful, empowering things this year as he transits through the 9th house, or begins to transit through the 9th house for you. There's so much more to say on this. I've talked about it. Check out the videos in my playlist all about Pluto in changing signs. But Neptune's also changing signs this year and moving from Pisces 10th house into Aries, which is your 11th house. And so this is the realm of the chart where you might start to push your boundaries back. Maybe you've had limitations around who you're friends with and who you'll associate with and hang out with. Well, in comes Neptune, and suddenly those boundaries disappear, and you're more willing to associate with anyone and get to know everybody. You give everybody the time of day, not just certain people groups who, you think might expand your opportunities. No, you're happy to be with anyone and everyone. And Neptune is compassion. So really, Neptune in the 11th has a lovely energy for bringing compassionate and a compassionate approach to humanity now. And this is going to increase for you quite significantly over the next 14 years. So you're going to be very much looking at what pioneering activities can you undertake that bless society, that bless humanity. It's an energy, I was going to say a bit like being a missionary, but I'm not a big believer in religious missionaries, but certainly this is an energy for sort of joining Doctors Without Borders to go and help be some good to people in need in war-torn countries or underdeveloped countries. It's a compassionate energy of love for the greater good of humanity. So that might happen on a large scale sense, going and joining Doctors Without Borders, or you might be doing that in some realm in your community and the environment that you currently live in, where you're offering your compassion to society in some new way. Uranus is going to be changing from Taurus into your first house. So hang on to your hat, Gemini. You're going to be transformed over the next 7 years. This is going to be a big one for you. Your image might change. The way you dress might change. You might be more experimentative with your health and your vitality. You might be looking at alternative measures for health and vitality that you'd never ever considered before. It can be very exciting and fun. It also helps you become a more authentic person who's true to themselves and real to themselves, living a liberated life as Uranus moves into your first house. Saturn's going to be crossing Gandanta degrees this year. This is hugely karmic, Saturn at Gandanta degrees. Fortunately, it only happens every so often, every few years, maybe sort of, how often does it happen? Maybe every 7 years we get Saturn moving across Gandanta points. So it's quite influential. And really, it's all about releasing the old to make space for the new. And this has to do with your friendships and what you're doing out there to be recognized in the world. If you've been in a career that's really, you're running on the treadmill and you're like, this is taking me nowhere, what a waste of time and effort this is, you're not going to stand for it much longer with Saturn changing signs here this year. You're going to be more like, no, I need to do what's real to me, and I need to release what is holding me back so that I can start something fresh and turn over a new page in my life. So you'll be perhaps looking for new ways to achieve rewards in your life and generate some gainfulness from whatever you are masterful at, whatever you're good at, my Gemini friends. All right, we have Jupiter moving into Cancer. You're going to love this, Gemini. You've had a year of Jupiter moving through your first house. That must have been fabulous, expansive and abundant for you personally, but now it's going to your area of finances. So many Gemini people will start to see their finances maybe stabilize or more likely grow and flourish now. It's a great time for enjoying that. It's a great time for increasing your self-worth and self-love at this time too. So you might really be able to give yourself a big pat on the back and see some rewards for the efforts that you've been putting in start to fruit for you, Gemini, in a material sense, particularly now. The nodes are moving into the the 4th house, 10th house axis for Pisces, Virgo. And I'll be talking more about this next week. Don't miss that video. But really, it's very much, as the year progresses, about focusing more on your career and your worldly achievements and letting go of an over-attachment to family and to emotional states of being. It's really about starting to put your imprint upon the world in some way over the next 12 to 18 months. Thank you, Gemini. Cancer rising, Cancer sun, Cancer moon people, you're all going to be so thrilled to know that Jupiter moving into your first house is going to bring a lot of blessing your way, but I'll talk about that in a second. First things first, we've got Pluto here in Aquarius. I've talked about this in recent videos. Do check those videos out for more detail. But Pluto is going to be moving through your 8th house. This is actually a very powerful placement for Pluto to be. It can really activate and increase your sexual desire and your experience of sexuality. So some of you might be really being transformed now in a deep and powerful way by your sexual encounters. A lot of you Cancer people might also find with Pluto moving through Aquarius that the resources of your partner are somehow empowered and transformed. Pluto is the god of great wealth, and here in the sign to do with the money that your partner makes, this could be an absolute time of blessing for your partner. So lucky partners of Cancer people, where you might find your partner's wealth grows and your partner's prosperity expands and becomes more abundant. So this is a beautiful gift because we support one another in partnership, don't we? So it could be a business partner and it could be a personal partnership where that happens, where partnership is transformed. Also transformed is you, Cancer. Your life is going to be significantly transformed and turned around and changed because of the relationships that you have. Not just willy-nilly for any old reason, but because of who you connect with. This could be a client that you connect with. This could be an audience that you connect with, Cancer. It could be your marriage partner. It could be a business collaboration that you undertake. It's going to be transformative for you in 2025 in a really liberating way. Now, Neptune is also changing signs this year, moving into the sign of Aries. And this is going to bring more boundarylessness into the 10th house for you. So you might find that your boundaries with work, any restrictions you felt with work or blockages with work suddenly disappear. You might be able to get that promotion you've always wanted or that pay rise you've always wanted. You might be able to get more respect now as the boundaries disappear with your 10th house. But more likely than not is many of you Cancer people might want more spiritual work, might want to be involved in some kind of career that gives more meaning and purpose, not just fleshing out the bank account, but has something of substance to it. You might want to be in a career where you can utilize your level of compassion, and you Cancer people are very compassionate. You might want to be doing some kind of work that flows, not sort of 9-to-5 jobs anymore. They might lose their appeal. It's not about following the rules and regulations in career anymore. It's probably more about being creative, following the leading of spirit and the prompting of spirit, following the flow of life. So some of you might decide you've had enough of the career that you're in because of this Neptune movement into the 10th house, and you might seek something more spiritual or more creative as a source of career for you. Excuse me. Now Uranus is moving into Gemini this year as well. So in 2025, you might find that you are more liberated on a spiritual level. And this kind of ties in with Neptune being in the 10th house, doesn't it? Uranus's liberation in one of the most key places of the chart for releasing old karma, and especially hang-ups from early childhood or past lives. So I see a lot of Cancer people really being able to transform themselves, become more authentic, and release self-sabotaging behavior patterns, dependency on, too much dependency on other people, and being able to stand in their own truth and their own empowerment, especially if those self-sabotaging behaviors and dependencies have to do with brainwashing of childhood. So some of you might be breaking away from a religious brainwashing or a martyrdom brainwashing. Some of you might be starting to stand in your own empowerment and your own truth with not only a belief system, but maybe even culturally. You might decide, I've had enough of this culture that I'm living in. This is not me. I've never felt at home here. I'm going to shift and move to this culture. Some of you, Cancer people, might completely change your cultural basis. Okay, shift, not necessarily just shifting homes. It's more about, I want to be in a community that I am aligned to. And so you might find that you move far away from everything that you have always known. That'll happen for some Cancer people, not for everyone, but certainly for every Cancer people. This is going to be a massive year of personal expansion and growth. Excuse me. This is because Jupiter's moving through your first house. It's going to grow you. It's going to expand you. It's going to give you adventure, and it's going to pull your tent pegs back, as we say. Meaning that instead of seeing the narrow focus of life and who you are in this world and what your role is in this world, suddenly you're going to see your peripheral vision and understand the big picture of why you're here, your purpose, your meaning, your dharma. Be careful, Cancer. Jupiter moving through your first house can expand the waistline and the size of your body as well. So be careful of that. But generally speaking, this is a wonderful transit, Jupiter through the first house. You're also going to have Saturn moving into your 10th house. And this is crossing the Gandanta degrees of 9th house, 10th house for you guys. So there's a real emphasis on releasing the karma, letting go of your old belief systems, Pisces energy, your old ethics and morals, in order to establish yourself with a new set of, a new understanding of who you are in the world. Saturn moving from 9th house to 10th house. So when I experienced this, which was a Gandanta journey of Saturn for me, oh my God, I left behind the religion I'd been raised in, and I really embraced astrology and a new mindset about what goodness is, amongst many other things. And really it changed my whole worldly reputation and my whole way of living life, my whole dharma actually. So big energy for Cancer people this year. Not only that, but you're going to have a change from Aries, Libra nodal axis to Pisces, Virgo nodal axis, which is the 9th house, 3rd house. This has to do with understanding, mental clarity. It has to do with localized and large-scale travel. So these are going to be emphasized this year for you through the eclipses and the nodes. I will be talking more about this next week, so do tune in for my video to find out all the juicy details about those things. Thank you, Cancer. Leo rising, Leo sun, Leo moon, people. Well, my friends, here we go. There's so much happening in 2025. You are a fixed sign, therefore you are going to be experiencing the potency, Leo, of a lot of this energy, particularly Aquarius Pluto now being in the early degrees. So what this means is that 7th house, the partnerships, the relationships that you have in your life are going to transform you. They're going to change you. They're going to turn your whole world around. I'm a Leo sun. Obviously, I've entered into a partnership this year as Pluto has moved into Aquarius, a marriage with David. And we are looking down the barrel of some really significant changes in our lives together as a couple. And the direction our lives have been taking is about to alter significantly. And I correlate this to Pluto and his transformational and often rapid and fast change in the house of connection and partnership. So any collaboration in your life, Leo, business, clients, audience, are likely to change you completely. And you'll have a big influence on your partnerships too, changing your partners, whoever they may be. So Pluto is having that kind of effect as well. And I've talked more about the Pluto effect in many videos. Do check out my playlists. You'll find a lot more detail there. We've got Neptune changing signs, Leo, from Pisces into Aries this year. And this is going to bring a level of boundarylessness and expansion through boundarylessness into your 9th house. So a lot of you Leo people will be doing a lot more traveling. You will be experiencing other cultures, and I would suggest broadening your philosophical understanding starting this year. You might study some higher knowledge, higher learning, and start applying it in your life. But if it's got a spiritual foundation or a psychological foundation to it, so much the better with Neptune being in the 9th house. I feel that you'll undertake a lot of travel this year that will really move your tent pegs back, help you to understand life at a deeper, more profound level. You might even find that your ability to communicate with the divine, to get answers to prayer, to see your wishes and dreams come true is somehow really enhanced and invigorated through Neptune's movement into the sign of Aries. So this is going to be an exciting time on all those levels. Uranus is going to be moving from Taurus, where it's been for 7 years, into Gemini. I can't wait for this one. This is going to liberate many of our Leo people with regard to their earnings, their rewards, their gains. You might find this gets really shaken up in your life, Leo, I'm very, very happy to say. You know, you might have been feeling that, I mean, for the last 7 years, Uranus has been shaking up your career. I'll vouch for that. Ever since Uranus moved into Taurus, I've moved into a career of astrology, and that's been the focus. But the rewards and gains haven't necessarily been liberated or expanded, despite Jupiter's transit through this area of the chart. Jupiter's not well dignified in Gemini, so the impact of Jupiter there hasn't been that substantial. I'm sorry about my coughing. I've been quite sick since returning from the United States, so do forgive me. But Uranus moving into Gemini is going to really shake the tree regarding what you can get remunerated for, the rewards that you receive. So all the work that you've spent doing over the last 7 years, while Uranus has been in your 10th house of career, is likely to come back and be gifted to you now. This is the house of rewards and gains. And you might find that rewards and gains come from the most surprising corners. You might find the most unexpected benefactor really gets behind you in life. You might find that you are able to utilize some level of humanitarianism that you carry to bless humanity on a greater scale now. And it really sets you free to do so. Your dreams and goals can be radically altered during Uranus's transit of this area of the chart as well, to become more real and more authentic and more in alignment with what you really want to achieve in this lifetime and who you really want to be. So big influences there. I'll be talking more about that when Uranus moves into Gemini this year. my Leo friends, Saturn is going to be moving from your 8th house to your 9th house. Now, this is a heavy-duty one because he's crossing the Gandanta degrees. So it's a real time of liberation, karmic liberation with beliefs as Saturn does this. Some of you might be really changing any old beliefs and mindsets that you've carried, any old, ethical stance you might have taken, might be about to go through a radical restructure now as this happens. So that can be a good thing. There might be usually Saturn brings blockage, but with Neptune being in your 9th house, I don't think the blockage is going to be that substantial. I see it more as giving you a new foundation for what you believe and who you align yourself with in terms of inspirational mentors and gurus. You might be looking for more maturity from your gurus now, more masterfulness or mastery from your gurus and teachers at this time. Jupiter is going to be moving into Cancer for Leo people, for all people, but Cancer is your 12th house. So I see some, again, this is correlating to the Saturn piece, some really serious changes karmically for you, especially when Jupiter and Saturn make a bi-sign trine later in the year. And this is going to bring a lot of karmic rewards now. Karmic blessing, karmic growth. So really anything you've done good in a past life is going to come back expanded 20-fold to bless you now. So let's hope we've all been decent human beings in a past life because the blessing can come back to us. And it might come back to us in a way that we don't expect. It might come through a relationship. It might come through financial reward. It might come through an opportunity. It might come through creative recognition. The blessing could come in many, many varieties of ways based on how we blessed others and our good karma from past lives. And finally, Leo, we are having the Libra Aries nodal axis shift to Virgo Pisces. I'll be talking more about this next week in next week's video, but this is moving to a financial axis, the 8th house, 2nd house axis. So for many Leo rising people, you're going to see the resources of your partner flourish and expand and grow as the North Node impacts the 8th house. It might be a time potentially, Leo, when you may have to lean a little on a partner resource-wise because the South Node will be in your 2nd house. But there's so much more to say on this topic. I'll be talking more about it in next week's video. Moving along from lovely Leos to very wonderful Virgos. Virgo rising, Virgo sun, and Virgo moon people. Well, let's kick it off. What's happening this year, generally speaking, in the whip around, we've got Pluto having moved into Aquarius. I have done a video all about this, many videos about this. You might like to check that out and find out more specifics. But generally speaking, Pluto in the 6th house is going to be transforming your health and well-being, Virgo. Going to bring some fast change to health issues. Going to help you set up a new routine that sticks with you for the next 20 years. You might be changing your workplace as a result of this. You might be transforming how you're serving the world in some way. All of these things Pluto can be affecting in the 6th house. Neptune's going to be moving into your 8th house Aries this year, Virgo, and that is going to have an impact on your the resources of your partner. You might find that Neptune, which is boundaryless, pulls back the boundaries that might have been present on the life of your business partner or your clients or of your marriage partner to enable them to perhaps see more manifestation in that area. But this is going to be particularly powerful if your partner works in a spiritual or creative or maybe some sort of holiday escapist workplace or realm. Their resources might see the blessing if they work in those fields because of Neptune being here. Also, any limitations around sexuality and sexual relationships might also start to become more boundaryless. So if you feel like you haven't been able to have a good sex life for a long time, Neptune moving here might start to shift that energy. And you might find that if you have been in a sexual relationship for some years, that it now takes on a more spiritual tone, that achieving that level of delight with a partner or by yourself, doesn't matter, either way, takes you to a new dimension of understanding, a spiritual dimension. You might be more inclined to pray after orgasm than never ever before. So definitely a spiritual, even a fanciful and fantasy component might enter into your sex life now. We've got Uranus moving into Gemini this year too. This is going to bring liberation to your realm of career. Virgo, you might find that your career is about to go through a lot of big changes. Your worldly reputation might go through a lot of big changes as well. Your big public image, the way people recognize you might go through massive changes over the next 7 years as Uranus moves through this area of the chart. But it's going to be good for authenticity and liberation. So basically it's getting you out of a rut with regards to any career or reputational circumstances that you've been in. This year we're going to also see Saturn moving across the Gandanta degrees of Pisces, Aries, which is your 7th house, 8th house axis. So we're really going to see some releasing of old karma to establish something new and a new foundation regarding connection, intimacy, and relationships. I would also suggest as Saturn begins to move into Aries that it's a time for getting your will in order, your taxes in order, any inheritances in order, any legal documents in order. Saturn wants us to dot the I's and cross the T's regarding those sorts of legalized documents as well. Sorry, I do apologize for my difficulty breathing. I don't know what it was they sprayed us with on the plane as we came back from America, but it wasn't pleasant. All right. We've got also over here Jupiter moving into Cancer, which is a very auspicious position for Jupiter to be in for Virgo people, because this is the house of rewards and gains and notoriety and recognition by having some sort of accolades. And Jupiter's going to expand your ability to experience such things in the next year. So you might be earning more money this year than ever before. You might get an award of some sort or recognition of some sort by your peers. This is also a time when your dreams and goals can really expand out as well. And I'd encourage you to utilize the affirmation, I expand to meet my destiny, because it's about dreaming as big as you can and then going for it. Jupiter exalted in the 11th house. Couldn't get a better energy. The 11th house is one of them, to my mind, the houses that brings most blessing to our Western mindset. And having Jupiter in exaltation here, what a gift. What a gift to our Virgo friends. And finally, we're seeing the movement of the nodes, which are here on Libra, Aries axis. They're leaving there and moving into Pisces, Virgo. So there's going to be a focus now on your relationships, my beautiful Virgo friends. Mostly, it's going to be a focus on your partner expanding, growing, getting more, moving ahead in life. And you might need to lean on your partner a little bit more because of this energy. So we're seeing that sort of coming from two realms. And your vitality might actually suffer a little with the South Node being in your first house. But if you surround yourself with the support and love that you're so worthy of, Virgo, you'll be able to navigate this without any trouble. And I'll be talking more about this topic next week in my video about the nodes. Moving on to lovely Libra. All right, Libra. This year is quite a doozy, 2025, and we've kicked it off with Pluto moving into your 5th house. I do have a video all about that. If you want to check it out and find out more details, go to the playlist. But generally speaking, this is where we're going to experience a lot of empowerment, a lot of transformation, and it'll be with regard to our level of luck. You might feel, Libra, like you haven't been lucky, like life's been full of heaviness and difficulties and, getting by just the skin of your teeth. Well, here goes Pluto into your 5th house, bringing transformation of your level of luck and your ability to experience luck. There could also be some fast changes with your children, the relationship with your children, their ability to move out in the world and succeed and live their best life. There could be some changes and transformation for lovers as well because of this energy too. Now also we're seeing Neptune move into Aries this year, and this is where you're going to see a lot of boundarylessness and not necessarily expansion, but the blockages that may have been present will start to move away. Very pleased to tell you this, Libra. This has to do with your partnerships. So if your partner's been feeling really blocked and restricted in some way, if they have been feeling like spirit hasn't been supporting them, along comes Neptune and changes that whole dynamic. It can make your partners more creative, make your partners in life, this is business partners as well as marriage partners, it can make them more creative, more spiritual. It can also make you very idealistic about relationships. Be sure to keep your feet on the ground when it comes to relationships and don't become a martyr, because Neptune in the 7th house can bring about martyrdom and giving ourselves away for the sake of another person. And that can be our audience or our clients as well. So do be careful not to overdo it. Uranus moving into the sign of Gemini. Well, this is a really good one. This is moving into the 9th house. It's really going to empower your mindset and your understanding. It's a great time for studying something left of center, like astrology. I would encourage you, Libra, if you've ever been considering it, studying astrology is a great thing to do for the next 7 years. But it can disrupt conventional learning, Uranus in the 9th house. So don't look at this as a great time to go and sign up to, do a medical degree. Go and sign up to do an acupuncture degree or a naturopathy degree or a vibrational medicine degree, absolutely. But conventional medicine, not with Uranus transiting through the 9th house. It will be very hard to stay the course and see it through to the end when Uranus is in the 9th house. You might have some surprise travels coming your way with this transit as well, where you have to take a trip out of the blue, but it'll be liberating, it'll be positive, and it'll be empowering for you. Saturn is going to be moving across the Gandanta degrees of Pisces and into the Gandanta degrees of Aries this year, and this is happening in the 6th house and 7th house. Mostly you will start to experience the release of karma and the moving into a new karmic state of being with regard to relationships and partnerships. It's actually an auspicious thing to my mind, Libra, to have Saturn in the 7th house of relationship, because Saturn has great directional strength here. He gives us maturity in relationships, the ability to work hard in relationships, the ability to persevere and really put in a lot of effort to relationships, and our partners will do that in return for us too. So there can be a lot of paying your karmic dues relationally, but also the ability to have grown-up relationships, mature relationships now with Saturn moving across this point. Releasing of karma with relationships. Jupiter's going to be moving through your 10th house, Libra, expanding your career, your worldly recognition, your status. It could make you famous at this time, particularly when we have a new or full moon forming in the sign of Cancer alongside this Jupiter. Very powerful time of popularity and personal recognition. You might find that you get some new principles, new ethics, new morals related to your career stance and what you're doing for career. And the best bit is exalted Jupiter in the 10th house can bring more meaning and dharma to whatever it is you're doing for career. So blessing there, of course. Now, we also have, for Libran people, the nodes leaving your 1st house, 7th house axis and moving into the karmic axis. This is going to be great because for many Librans, you might have felt exhausted with the South Node moving through your 1st house of the body and vitality. Like vitality is just lacking. You haven't got the energy that you otherwise have had in life. And that's going to be winding up, I'm pleased to say. Now the focus is moving more onto the karmic axis of how can you help, how can you serve, how can you heal, how can you fix in the world, North Node in the 6th house, and developing good health routines and good workplace relationships as the North Node moves here through the 6th house. You might find that you have to work hard Nothing wrong with that. Just because the North Node's in Pisces, it'll feel easy to work hard. You know, it won't feel like you're burning the candle at both ends. So good news there for Libran people. I'll be talking more about the changing of signs of the nodes in greater depth for you next week. So be sure to catch my video then. Scorpio rising, Scorpio sun, and Scorpio moon people. Well, this year, what a doozy, 2025. You've had Pluto already move into your 4th house, bringing fast change to your emotions, your feelings, the emotional foundation that you have. You also probably will experience some changes to your home life. So it could be your domestic home life, or it could be your actual bricks and mortar home that is changing. This might be particularly potently felt if you have your IC degree at 0, 1, 2, or 3 degrees of Aquarius. You'll be experiencing significant transformation and change with regard to your place of living. We have Neptune moving into the sign of Aries. And that's happening early this year as well. This is going to bring a level of compassion to the 6th house. It's a really nice energy, actually, where your heart for broken people, people who are underprivileged, people who are disadvantaged, is going to be really prodded, and you will want to give. Now, be careful of martyrdom, giving too much to people in need. But generally speaking, this is a lovely energy where you're going to want to compassionately help your fellow man. And that will bring you good karma, can I just say, as well. You might also be able to push back the boundaries or have a sense of boundarylessness with your health and well-being. You might find that on one hand, you might be able to eat more food that, you know, maybe you haven't been able to eat gluten for years. Well, here comes Neptune here pushing back that limitation. And Neptune can enable you to eat things you haven't eaten for years. That said, Neptune in the 6th house does say be careful of toxicity. You know, check the use-by date on all your foods. Make sure that you don't eat something like chicken that you don't know how it's been cooked or whatever, or drink water out if you're traveling out of a cistern that you know nothing about. You know, be careful because toxicity can be an issue. I'm also seeing for Scorpio people, Uranus is going to be moving into your 8th house. Uranus loves to be in the 8th house, very at home here, but it will bring rapid, fast change into your life. It will also bring a new level of authenticity, living life on your terms, positive changes from the trine to Pluto as well. So fast change, liberating change, change that takes you into a more authentic way of doing life, in a positive, easy manner, not through trauma, not through difficulty. Sometimes the 8th house is connected to crisis, but when we've got a trine coming from Pluto to Uranus, the change comes with blessing, with positivity. So if you felt stuck in a rut, Scorpio, and you may have this as you're a fixed sign, and the fixed signs are going to be heavily influenced this year. If you felt stuck in a rut, this energy is going to turn it all around in a happy, joyful manner. Not only that, you've got Saturn moving from Pisces to Aries. And this is going to really bring a releasing of karmic heaviness now across these Gandanta degrees. But I really do feel that as Saturn moves into your 6th house, that there is a need for you to serve, help, heal, fix in dutiful, mature and responsible ways. Saturn in the 6th house. And you have a great capacity to burn your karma now, to burn any karmic dues that you owe anybody through serving, helping, healing, fixing. So I encourage you, Scorpio, look for ways and means that you can do that. It will serve your greatest good in the long run. Now, Jupiter is moving into Cancer. I love this. This is exaltation for Jupiter. Jupiter in Cancer is going to bring blessing and growth and expansion to the 9th house. I think you Scorpio people are going to do a lot of traveling this year. I think you're going to, if not in the body, you might be expanding your mind by watching a lot of documentaries or doing some courses that really help your level of understanding and your depth of knowledge. Very, very powerful. You might meet some very uplifting and charismatic gurus at this time, or teachers or leaders that you want to align yourself with. This can be very empowering too. Now, finally, Scorpio, we are going to have the nodes changing signs from the Libra Aries axis this year to the Virgo Pisces axis. And that's going to shift the energy away from the karmic axis to a more social axis. And the focus is actually going to be very much in the 5th house where the North Node will be. And that's going to bring really a lot of opportunity for joy and happy experiences and blessing and social experiences. You might even find that you're the center of a social network in some way this year, that you can even be something of a celebrity potentially with this energy unfolding. You might achieve a new level of popularity or recognition as well. It can also bring you blessing with children, and it can also bring blessing with lovers too. But I'll be talking more about that in greater depth next week when we explore the changing of signs of the nodes. Sagittarius rising, Sagittarius sun or moon people, we are seeing, if we're a Saggy person, we are seeing the energy of Pluto. We know that Pluto has moved into the 3rd house already. And so just to reiterate, I've got videos all about this if you want to check out in greater depth. But Pluto is going to bring fast transformational change to the 3rd house. If you have been running your own business, you might find that it's about to transform how you do business, how you run your side hustle. Might be about to go through some sort of significant revolution. There can also be some changes in your friendships as well, who you connect with, the people that you feel a like-minded connection with. This is also the realm of the sharing economy, and Pluto can really transform that in your life. If you've been a bit isolated in any way, Sagittarius, Pluto moving here can sort of bring you in touch with a community where you can share your knowledge, your wisdom, or share vegetables that you've grown together, or share skill sets in some way. You might find that there is more opportunity, and it really changes your life to get involved with groups like that. Neptune, yes, that's Neptune I'm looking at. Neptune changing signs and moving into the sign of Aries is your 5th house. This can really pull back any boundaries you might have been feeling with your luck and with your ability to have things going your way. So Neptune in the 5th house can bring greater, you could call it expansion, but less blockage with regard to children and lovers and creative endeavors. In fact, Neptune in the 5th house is a wonderfully creative position that can really give you sort of divine inspiration now. Maybe you've felt like, your ability to write that great novel has been blocked, and then in goes Neptune into the 5th house and you're just writing like there's no tomorrow, or producing poetry, or creating an album, or doing some sort of photography. Your creative capacity is really going to, go through its greatest period in your life for the next 14 years while Neptune moves through this realm of the chart, and it's all going to start this year in 2025. Then we have Uranus changing signs this year as well, moving into the sign of Gemini, your 7th house. So this could really affect your partners, Sagittarius. They might be going through a lot of change. Sometimes Uranus in the 7th house, it can bring divorce, but usually only if there's been, walking on eggshells and things have been volatile in the lead up. It's not going to destroy or end a relationship that doesn't already feel authentic and powerful and liberated, okay? But Uranus can cause change to the life of the relationship. So Uranus sometimes has to do with separation. You might find that you need to go and work on the other side of the country, and your partner needs to stay where they are for a certain amount of time. And Uranus can bring separation, not through lack of love, but through necessity of some other sort. You might also find that Uranus makes more real and more honest the relationships that you've got. You can be open with one another. You can be true with one another. You can really recognize the uniqueness in one another. This is also likely to unfold for you this year. So it can be a good thing. And especially this coming year with a trine to Pluto, there is support and positivity for that shift of energy as well. It's going to bring blessing rather than detriment relationally. Now, Saturn is moving across Gandanta degrees in the realm of the chart that has to do with the 4th house, 5th house. So there's a lot of karmic letting go regarding perhaps your relationship to the parents, Obligations to the parents might shift and change this year. Obligations to children might shift and change this year if you are a parent. There's some karmic releasing and letting go. Some of you might find that a new foundation is established with your children. You know, maybe if your children have been estranged, they might come back. They might re-establish something with you. That can be positive and powerful, of course. But yes, a lot of karma with children and with family that is going to come up to the surface to be dealt with this year because of the Saturn position. Jupiter's going to be moving into your 8th house. Jupiter brings blessing and growth and expansion, especially when Jupiter is in its exaltation sign. So what this can mean, my beautiful friends, is that your ability to understand the hidden mysteries of life is expanded exponentially. You might start seeing things, Sagittarius, that you never realized were true. You know, the hidden mysteries of life, the ancient esoteric understanding, the knowledge base that people had in the past might be coming to the surface now. This is particularly true because Cancer has to do with our past. This is the axis of, you know, our history. And Cancer, Capricorn. And so to have Jupiter expanding this in the 8th house means your ability to understand the ancient hidden mysteries is very strong. So it's a great year because of that, maybe to do some travel esoterically, you know, go and join a group that's going to Egypt or something like that, or exploring, you know, ancient Andes monuments or something. You really get involved with something esoteric and some sort of long lost knowledge and bring it to light, bring it to the surface with Jupiter moving through this realm of the chart. And finally, the nodes of the moon. They've been here on the axis of the 11th house, 5th house for about 18 months, and they're about to move into 4th house, 10th house. And the focus is going to be very much on the 4th house. So it's about getting more interaction with parents, more of a role as a parent for some of you. It's about opportunities to gather your resources and create some stability and a foundation for your life, which is a blessing. Maybe some of you might even be moving into a new home or finding a new place of living in some way, changing your domestic life in the positive with this shift of the nodes. And I'll be talking more about that for all of us in the video I produce next week, so do tune in for that one. Capricorn rising, Capricorn sun, and Capricorn moon, people. Well, the energy of, first off, Pluto is moving through your 2nd house, and we've talked a lot about this. There's videos online, playlists of mine that you can utilize to find out more about this information. But Pluto through the 2nd house brings fast transformational change to your finances, your resources, your money. And Pluto is actually a planet of great wealth, a god of great wealth. So Pluto through the 2nd house is something I can't wait to experience in my life. Hopefully I do get to experience it probably in another 60 years' time if I'm still alive. But this is a blessing, Capricorn. This is where you can experience some rapid shedding of blockages regarding financial situations. The ability to make money, the ability to see opportunities to make money. Just try consciously to avoid being ruthless for the sake of earning money and creating resources, because that won't do your karma any good. Then we have Neptune moving into the 4th house. This is where Neptune brings compassion. So some of you might be feeling a level of compassion for your family history, more so than ever before. There might even be a reducing of boundaries that you've had with family members. Maybe you haven't spoken to grandma for years, and in goes Neptune here, and you feel a sympathy for grandma and you want to connect with grandma and understand grandma more. The one thing that I would say with Neptune moving through the 4th house is do be careful of your home. Neptune can bring plumbing issues, flooding. Neptune in the 4th house can bring sort of, like bugs and things like that, like termites and stuff like that. And Saturn can also contribute to that too, being in this realm of the chart as well. And oil leaks, gas leaks. So do double check everything. If you're at all in doubt for the next few years, make sure you get things checked out without hesitation as Neptune moves through this realm of the chart. Some of you might find that you move overseas now, or to a faraway distant place, a dream place. castle in the clouds, your fantasy place, or a place of isolation and removal from the mainstream. Also is how Neptune can express here. Uranus is going to move into your 6th house this year. And I actually rather like Uranus in the 6th house because Uranus brings liberation or authenticity to a realm of the chart that has to do with well-being. And Uranus is very alternative, my friends. So a lot of you might start to explore alternative therapies now. Going to a naturopath, going to a vibrational healer, going to an alternative masseur or a Reiki master or something that is non-mainstream medicine. And I'm a big passionate advocate of such things. Despite my coughing this week, I am an advocate of such things. And so you could really benefit over the next 7 years by finding a really fabulous alternative practitioner to support your body. There can be a bit of a shake-up with work. If you feel like you've been on the treadmill and stuck in a bit of a rut with work, then you might find that there's some serious changes coming in. Your relationship with your co-workers can also go through a liberating process too. But generally speaking, I think the outcome will be positive, especially while we've got this trine between Pluto and Uranus forming in these air sign energies. Then we have Saturn moving from the 3rd house to the 4th house. This is across some Gandanta degrees, so it is very much speaking to karma with family. I feel many of you will be addressing old karmic issues that you swept under the rug with family now. And there might be a need. You might have thought back, you'd peeled back all the layers of the onion regarding the way your father treated you or the way, your mother's family behaves or something. And along comes this energy of Saturn across Gandanta degrees, and you have to face it all over again and pull back another layer and dive deep in the healing there. So be conscious of that. Some of you might be creating a new foundation for your emotional life as Saturn moves into this realm of the chart too. Developing more stoicism, more maturity, more endurance, more of a hard-nosed attitude to life in general and the way life is unfolding. And that, I think, in many ways is healthy. I'm a big fan of the Stoic philosophers. They really embrace that Saturnian energy. And I think over and in the perfect world, it actually serves us well to be a bit detached and have a bit of a tough focus. But yeah, you might be being drawn to more of an approach that's similar to that. I am seeing Jupiter moving into the 7th house, and this is a beautiful gift to your partner, my Capricorn friends, because it's in the realm of relationships that you might see expansion, growth, and flourishing, particularly in the life of your partner. So your partner might start to expand their worldview, have new understandings, new depth. They might study some wisdom or knowledge. They might even be going traveling a bit this year. But also they are going to be very much enhancing the relationship that they have with you. And this is a flow-on effect blessing where the relationship grows and flourishes because of the work they put in. And you are the recipient, the blessed one from that. And this could be a business partnership. It could be a relationship with a client or with an audience. And of course, it can be a relationship with your marriage partner. Now, I'm seeing also, Capricorn, that the changing of the North Node and South Node from Libra, Aries, is going to move into Pisces, Virgo. The North Node will be in your 3rd house. So if you're a Capricorn person with a side hustle or a small business idea, it's going to be a great 18 months for you to pursue that and to really get that off the ground. A really good time for learning some new skill set, some new craftsmanship. It's going to be a great time for increasing connection with your friends and your friendship circles, particularly friends that feel like family. That can be very much enhanced by this transit also. But I'll be talking more in depth about that with you in next week's video, all about the changing nodes. So do tune in for that one. All right, Aquarius rising. Aquarius Sun and Aquarius Moon people. Well, here we go, guys. What an interesting year it's going to be for you. You have the North Node, sorry, not the North Node, you have Pluto in your first house. Now, I've already talked extensively about this. This has been unraveled in many videos on my channel. Do check out the playlists for that. But just to reiterate a small portion of that, you are going to be changed. Your image is going to be changed. The way the world sees you is going to be changed. Your body is going to be empowered. And this change is usually going to come fast and is particularly potent for anyone with their ascendant degree at 0, 1, 2, or 3 degrees this year of Aquarius. So big changes coming personally and regarding your image this year. Then we've got Neptune moving from Pisces into Aries this year as well. So this is another change that's on the cards. As you can see, almost all the big planets are changing signs this year. It's a huge shift of energy. And of course, Neptune into your third house is no exception, Aquarius. This has the potential to perhaps cause you to establish some sort of side hustle or entrepreneurial business that's very spiritual, very creative, or very charitable in some way. You're going to have a real compassion for your friends this year and really get alongside them, I think, in some powerful way. You might be able to develop some sort of spiritual skill sets. And by spiritual skill sets, that could look like maybe you learn how to do pottery and you're casting bowls that sell as singing bowls or something. Or maybe you're able to carve those beautiful sound healing bowls or something. Something to do with some creative skill sets that have a spiritual basis in what you're doing. If maybe some of you might produce some tarot cards or something of that nature. But communications is also seen through the third house, and I do think you'll be using some sort of very ethereal methods for communicating wisdom and knowledge. You might even have a message from the divine that you need to share with humanity this year, and I encourage you to listen to that energy and do so as Neptune moves through your third house. Then we have Uranus moving through Gemini this year, or into Gemini, and this is going to be a time of liberation, but perhaps not for yourself so much, more for your children. You might find that your children get opportunities that they haven't had before, or they decide they want to break out of a rut. Worst case scenario, you could see children being a bit rebellious, but I doubt that's going to happen as there's a supportive trine holding space for that from Pluto. So I think more likely it's going to see your children being liberated and living authentic lives that feel good to them, that are real to them. Some of you Aquarian people might find new love this year. It could be exciting and thrilling. I don't know if it'll last. I need to look at a personal chart to make that assessment, but Uranus in the fifth house can bring surprising, unexpected new love affairs your way, and it'll be positive for you. It'll help enhance your soul's journey to have those experiences. I'm also seeing Saturn moving across the Gandanta degrees of Pisces and Aries this year, and that means lots of releasing of karma with siblings, releasing of karma with relatives. So if you need to address something with a relative, this is the year for it. If you need to raise an issue with a sibling, this is a year for it. I'm seeing also that you might be tapping into some sort of past skill sets that you utilized. Maybe when you're a child, you liked weaving rugs or something like that. And along comes Saturn, the planet of the past, into the house of craftsmanship. And you might find, you know what, I think I'd love to get a loom and start weaving rugs again. I really enjoyed that. What can I create? What can I do? Neptune in the third house, Saturn in the third house. You might also find that Saturn here brings some sort of karmic influence regarding money, particularly money that you make from your own capacity, your own skills. So, if there's issues and blockages there, you might need to address a change of mindset so that you can attract money to you through the skills of the hands. Like if you've got a market stall selling I don't know, what might you sell? Jewelry that you've made or something like that at a market stall, and it's just not going well for you. Saturn's transit through these areas, this area of the chart, might be telling you there's some sort of psychological blockage from the past, self-sabotaging, that you need to, maybe through hypnosis or through some past life regression work or something, you need to unravel. Now, also, the good news is you've got Jupiter here in the 6th house. Now, usually benefic planets are not at their best in the 6th house, but here's Jupiter exalted in his own exaltation sign, Cancer. This means it's going to be a great year for healing. Great year for healing of any problems, any issues, any lack, any feeling of no abundance, any inability to earn enough money to pay the bills. If ever there was a good year to set yourself up financially, on a day-to-day basis, it's this year with Jupiter transiting through the 6th house, Aquarius. So there might be some expansion and growth and abundance with your everyday work. You might be given more responsibilities, more duties at work, but you're going to love it. You're going to enjoy it. It'll bring you happiness to do so. There might even be fabulous opportunities to burn your karma through helping, healing, fixing, and serving other people, and it will feel great to you Aquarian people to do so. I mean, the whole reason why Aquarius people are such compassionate people for humanity is because they have Cancer here in the 6th house of the underdog. And Aquarius people love to champion the underdog, the disadvantaged. They love to sort of try and lift humanity up. Why? Because Cancer is compassionate here in the house of the underdog, and with Jupiter going in here, you're going to find new ways to do that. In fact, a lot of Aquarian people will be able to establish not-for-profit organizations or some sort of service industries that really help humanity. The final thing that I want to talk about, just briefly, is the shifting of the South Node into Virgo and the North Node into Pisces. This is moving to a financial access, and the emphasis, Aquarius, is going to be on you being able to generate your own resources this year, your own money, and to be able to make this will last for 18 months actually, for you to be able to attract and bring into your life good financial practices. Now, I'll be talking further about this in greater depth in next week's video, so do subscribe and tune into that video. I've got so much to say about the shifting signs that the nodes are moving into, but that's enough for now. And finally, dear Pisces, who always wait till last, thank you for your patience as always, Pisces. And my dear Pisces friends, we're going to start by looking at Pluto. In 2024, Pluto moved into Aquarius. I've got videos all about that. You can check out the playlist if you want to know more. But Pluto's in your 12th house, and this is a very spiritual placement. Pluto wants to transform and change whatever impacted you in a past life that's self-sabotaging you now, that's holding you back now. And if you have your 12th house manifestation point at 0, 1, 2, or 3 degrees of Aquarius, you'll feel this. There will be experiences of transformation. Now, this could happen in your dream life. It could happen one day while you're out there fantasizing, lying on the back lawn, looking at the clouds roll by. Transformation and change of past life karma and its impact upon your happiness and joy and success this lifetime is coming with this transit. So you will have experiences that pertain to that kind of thing all year long with this transit. You've got Neptune, your ruling sign in modern astrology, Pisces, leaving your sign after 14 years of smoke and fog in that realm, and now moving into your 2nd house. I don't know what to make of this. I'll be talking more about it when Neptune actually does change signs. But generally, we see Neptune brings boundarylessness, no more limitations and blockages. So my assumption with this is that Neptune in the 2nd house is going to allow any blockages around finances and resources and any blockages around the manifestation of your dreams to disappear now. Neptune can represent miracles happening, and in this very material area of the chart, it might be a material-based miracle occurring in your life. Of course, Saturn being here as well by transit can cause the manifestation of material aspirations and dreams that you might have had too, and cause them to come into material reality. But it could also mean that because Neptune can be a bit foggy, that you might lose money due to overcompassion, due to martyrdom. So you've got to be careful of that side of things expressing. Giving yourself away, too generous, not being grounded enough with finances and resources, and then you suffer the consequences here. You know, sometimes I find a lot of people who are martyrs in life, they lack self-love. And so Neptune here can put a bit of mist and fog around your ability to love yourself, and so you're giving everything away. So that's the shadow side to be forewarned about there, Pisces. Uranus is going to be moving into your 4th house, Pisces. He's been in the realm of the mind for the last 7 years, Now he's moving into the realm of the chart that has to do with your home. In a shadow sense, I would say get your electrical appliances checked out. Make sure you check out your electrical wiring if you're in an old house with old wiring. Be careful of that. Uranus can bring sort of sudden shocks to do with electricity and to do with homes in that regard, appliances and so forth. But there's also likely to be a level of liberation coming to the family as well, some sort of freedom when it comes to family. It can represent that you'll change homes a lot in the next 7 years, so don't expect to put down roots or settle down too much in the next 7 years, Pisces. But it's not going to be a bad thing. There is a trine to Pluto, so it's going to feel empowering and liberating to be a bit more free in terms of where you live and how you live. So liberation with family history, family karma, also something that happens as well. Some of you might be rebelling against the family. If that happens, keep love at the forefront of your mind. Act in love, not abuse, and just go about things in your own way as needed. All right. You've got your Saturn here moving across Gandanta degrees in the latter parts of your sign and into the early parts of Aries, which are also Gandanta degrees, Pisces. So this means heavy karmic release. And I think it's got to do with any karma and karmic blockages around finances and resources. So I come back to what I was saying with Neptune, Pisces. It really could be a time of developing a new foundation here, letting go of old past habits and thought processes that have kept resources from you or financial success from you, so that you can establish a new foundation as Saturn moves across these Gandanta degrees. So really, yeah, quite exciting in that sense too. Jupiter for Pisces people, your traditional ruling planet, is moving through the 5th house of Cancer. I'm looking forward to this. This could bring a lot more luck into Pisces people's lives, a lot more blessing from the divine. It can also bless your children. It might bring opportunities into your children's life to enable them to expand and grow. If you've got boyfriends or girlfriends, lovers, the people that you love can be blessed by this transit as well. Also, this is a house of celebrity, and to have Jupiter moving through the house of celebrity might see some Pisces people suddenly becoming very popular and very well recognized. If you're a Pisces person and you want to move into politics, Jupiter through the 5th house might be really helping and supporting that endeavor. If you want to be some sort of a social media influencer, or to be recognized for, I don't know, it could be anything, could be house building. Cancer has to do with properties and real estate. You might become very, very popular for those things as Jupiter moves through the 5th house. Some of you Pisces people, those who are looking to do so, might actually find it easier to become pregnant under this energy also as well. And now, just to conclude, we are seeing the change of the nodal axis from Libra, Aries to your sign, Pisces, Virgo. And for Pisces people, the North Node's going to be moving through your house this year for the next 18 months, actually. And so this is going to be a time of great personal empowerment, personal growth, and physical vitality, and, you know, being full of energy. And of course, this is a wonderful experience. So I've got so much more to say about this shift of the nodal axis coming out in next week's video. Be sure not to miss that, my friends. You won't want to miss all the juicy details about how that's going to be impacting us for the next 18 months. But for now, this is 2025 in a nutshell. I'm so glad to be here with you. May you be blessed by this video, and I will catch you next week.